You, you, you. Hey, it's cold outside. Like when I was shooting this car right now, the rain, it was just like, it was on break just a bit, luckily for me, because I wanted to do this review at night, but outside it's damn cold. Okay, all right, let's do things the right way. Welcome to the channel, guys. It's Siwa behind the camera, and I appreciate that you're here with me tonight. It's not today, tonight. So, you know, in this car, I don't want to focus a lot on aesthetics, like how does it look and all those, because my opinion, I don't think it's going to matter much. You know, with the Citroen, it's like the people who design this car, non-conformists, they're more like artistic, and that's how I see Citroen. Whenever I see it, that's how I see it, and it's not going to be to everyone's taste, and I'm not sure if they're trying to be to everyone's taste as well. So it's either you love it or you just look at it and be like, nah, I don't like it. So that's why I'm saying, for my opinion in this case, I don't think in terms of looks it's going to matter much, because already you looked at it and you're like, nah, I like it or I don't like it. For me, I like the fact that they are not trying to be anyone else. They're not conforming to any standards when it comes to design. So that for them, for that, I can give them like a kudos. But in this review, I just want to talk about the drive more than anything else. I really want to focus on how this car drives. You know, as it's raining right now, I'm sure you can hear the rain just hitting the car as hard as it can, of course. And that's one thing that I need to touch on when it comes to insulation of this car. You know, on this roof, you know, when you're in a house that is like made of, like, the roof is corrugated iron, it's the sound, obviously it's pleasing when you're sleeping. Sometimes you can enjoy it and it can give you that ambience, whatever. But I didn't expect it to be as hard as it is in this car. I mean, other cars as well, they're made of what, metal, aluminium, whatever you can call it. But in here, man, the roof, I don't know if this roof lining has enough insulation as well. It's just something that I just noticed now when I got in and it's raining. So that's one thing about it. And the choice of materials that is used in the interior. There's a lot of plastic in here. So already you can imagine the insulation is not that great, especially coming from outside. And anything that is heating, like undercarriage, like of the car, you can feel that, or you can hear rather, that it's making a little bit more noise than normal. And of course that owes to the material that is in the interior. But I want to talk about the two sides now. This car has two sides, according to me. The one that is in town and the one that is on the highway or open road. And when it comes to the open road, like this on the highway, this is where I think this car shines. Yes, this is the 1.2 turbo shine. It comes with 81 kilowatts, 205 newton meters of torque. It weighs just at around 1 ton. That is 1,000 kg or so. You can just check the exact, but it's almost there. So that torque figure, wow. Hey, you'll be shocked. I don't even lie to you. You'd be shocked. I tried to explain this when I was posting this car and so on, and I believe maybe, you know, people thought I'm exaggerating and so on. I believe when I'm driving it right now, you can see how it performs, because even when you're doing like high speed 120 and so on, it doesn't necessarily struggle to just tap into the next gear when you're trying to like overtake and so on. When you're hitting that, like, let's say you're on 120 and you're trying to get to 140, like, it doesn't struggle. I will, if I was to summarize the way this engine is performing together with the transmission on the highway, actually it's like seamless. You put your foot down, it drops the gear almost instantly. I believe the torque in here is so, like, it's great actually. It's enough for you to do whatever you need to do. The only disappointing thing for me is the insulation, because of the choice of material on the interior. That's something that is just throwing me off a bit. But the performance of this engine on the highway, I am so impressed. I mean, you put your foot down, it is gone. This car can smoke you if you're not careful and you think it's just like any other. This 1.2 liter really performs. See? You press it, it goes. It allows you. And when sometimes you'll be cruising on around 120 and it will be like revving at around 2,500 RPM. That's like, when it's around 2.5, it's not making a lot of noise. And that's something that is quite impressive, because the engine noise in here, it's almost minimal when you're cruising. Only when you are like trying to overtake or just picking up quickly, that's when you start hearing that grrr sound. I've heard this in other French engines as well, but it's annoying to a certain extent. It's not annoying like forever because it's gonna settle down. That's the thing that I think for the highway, that's where this car really shines. I can do a long distance and I will enjoy myself in this car when it comes to how it drives, how it drops the gears, the engine, the way it performs. Wow, I mean, you just move like this and yeah, it's going. It just goes. It's ready to go. And it has a sport mode, right? If you put it on sport mode as well, it's like it's never enough for you to, like, it will be on 120 and above, let me not say high or whatever, but it will still be asking for more, like push me more, I will give you more. That's another thing actually that I might have missed in this, is that you can see I'm driving in the rain right now, but the way it feels like it's hugging the road, it's quite amazing. I don't know how they did this, but this car is not easily shaken. It really can hug the road and feel like, you know what, I'm stable, I'm comfortable with doing this. Even in the rain, you can be doing like 120. I'm focusing on 120 because that is legal speed limit, guys. Legal speed limit. You can be doing that, and you know what, it's not even struggling whatsoever. You don't feel like, you know what, I'm in trouble here when it comes to safety. It gives you that confidence that, you know what, I can still go even when it's like this. I understand, you know what, don't drive like high speed in the rain because anything can happen. But yeah, when you have a car that makes you feel as comfortable as this, it's quite impressive actually what it can do. But remember, I said there are two sides to this story, and one such side is this one I just spoke about. Then we're gonna have to go to town, right? When you get to town with this car, that's where then now you're going to start having a little doubt. If I was to test drive it on the highway only, I might be like, you know what, I'm going to take this car. I love it. I love how it drives. But when I get into town, there's a lot of things that I feel like, hey, come on, man, it should have been better. I mean, this is probably going to be more of a city car. I understand we are driving a lot on the highways and so on, but there's something that is bothering me. First things first, transmission. Transmission in this car is very jerky. Like when you're moving from traffic light or a stop sign or whatever, traffic circle, just to press it down, you know, you will feel the kicks, especially on gear 1, 2, 3, you will feel the kicks. That's guaranteed. You'll feel the kicks. And now when you're decelerating as well, those kicks are coming back as well. You know, it's just that it has this impressive thing when it comes to the performance that you might end up forgiving it, because once you put it on sport, for example, and you just putting your foot down, it has that turbulence at around like the first gear, but once it gets to gear 2, it's like it's gone. Whoever was with you at the traffic light might be shocked that, oh wow, I didn't expect that car to be that quick. And you might end up just forgiving it, that, you know what, it's fine, man, I can feel that this transmission is doing this, but I'm okay with it. But for everyday driving and sensible driving, it might bother you. Especially another thing that actually bothered me, it's when you have the stop start system on, because it has the stop start system, this vehicle. So when you have that on, hey, you know, you will feel it from gear 2 that it's getting ready to get to that stop start thing. You know, the stop start, when it gets to the traffic light and then it turns off, you will feel it preparing to get there. And that's the thing that I was like, no, I don't like this. This stop start is probably one of the worst that I've experienced. And I turn it off all the time. You have to turn it off via the screen. Everything is controlled via the screen, by the way. But this screen is quite responsive. Even initially when I saw it, I was like, hey, this is going to be a struggle. Aircon controls, everything else. I don't know if this screen was to turn off, what's gonna happen with the car, because then now you won't have much to do with it. But otherwise, you just touch on the knob, like here, the one that shows the vehicle thing on the screen, and then you'll just see stop start. Then you just turn it off. You're good to go. And now when it comes to living with it, you know, especially looking at the price point where it's coming at, you know, the people who are buying this car, I think they're not necessarily the people who would be going to buy things like your Polo, you know. Probably they are looking into the segment, but they want something else. So I think someone might go to Peugeot for the 208 or go to Renault actually for the Clio. And I look at this car and I ask myself, what would be the reason for me to take it over that? I mean, the 208, if I look at the Allure 1.2 with the same engine but much more powerful, 96 kilowatts, it's around 405, I think, thousand. And then the Clio comes at around 365, which is less than this, that intense top spec one. I reviewed that car. You can check it as well in the channel. You can just scroll down, you'll see. You know, you ask yourself, if I was to take this over the Clio, I'm probably taking it for performance, but the Clio comes with much more comfort. The design is amazing inside out, and when you're looking at the choice of material, it feels much more premium than this car. That is where I think this car is going to struggle if I was to compare it to the cousins from France as well in that case. And as well, the 208, I've never driven it, I've touched it, I've been inside of it, I've seen how well it's designed and how great it looks as well. So it's not as easy for this car to actually just be picked, unless if you just want to focus on performance. And I'm not sure if people are buying into this segment are really focusing on performance, but it's a great performer as well. When I'm looking at the fuel consumption as well, it's not that bad. I think I averaged around 7.4, 7.6 throughout. I did around 600 kilometers overall, 600 kilometers overall, and it was just around 7.6. But if you are putting it on spot and pulling it through and through, because it gives you that, there's nothing else that you will say it's outstanding if it's not performance. And once you always play with it like that, you know, you will pay a lot. You will pay a lot with this car. You know, you can easily just get like maybe 400 or just like less than 500 kilometers on one tank, and it's not that much big, this tank. So that's something that you need to be careful of. But if I have to look at it as a product as a whole, without the performance that it has, I don't see where it has much to offer besides that. Despite the car itself being like, I think it's something unique that you can just look into, but without the performance, I really won't find a reason to pick it over their cousins. But with the performance, hey, this car can go. It really can go. And I love that about it. I ended up having to look at it and I just loved it. With that said, I think that's it. That's it from me. Like I said, I just want to focus on how this car drives in this review. Thank you very much for watching, and I am out.